basically, I think Anirban is there.
Oh.
Hi Anirban, good morning. Good morning Anirban. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello, yeah, hi.
Hi.
I can hear you.
Anirban, so Madhuli ma'am is here and I'm very fortunate to have him in the talk show today, which we are planning to basically for creating awareness with respect to self-defense. And ma'am is basically a sports psychologist, and her post, if you have seen on LinkedIn, it is into cricket and various kind of sports. So I think she is one of the person who will be able to give us some inputs with respect to psychology of self-defense. So ma'am, over to you. My first question to you would be, what is fear, ma'am? Basically, how do we define fear?
Fear, I would say that it's something when we face that we feel it's a threat for us. The response that our body creates is we can call that feeling a fear. This goes way back to the Stone Age, or age of man, where man was used to live in jungle, and then they had to face wild animals and all. So when you see a tiger or a lion in front of you, you have to run or you have to fight, right? So I mean that's a threat. So that's you see a tiger, you see it's a threat, and then your body prepares yourself to either fight or flight. So that's the feeling that comes, that is fear. But then what has happened is we evolved. Now we no more live in jungle, but the programming that has been done, it's still there. So whenever we see something as a threat or challenging, we have that same response. So yeah, in words, that's
right. Because ma'am, I think fear is one of the very powerful emotions which we possess, and it can override love at some times, because that is how critical it is. And in most of the self-defense kind of situation where a girl or a boy or a man faces this kind of intimidation from any unknown and abrupt circumstances, it becomes very challenging for him to react in that particular situation. So I think the awareness on self-defense would actually holistically help him in terms of getting rid of this fear. And simply the motto of Center for Martial Arts and Well-being is Har Ghar Atma Raksha, which we actually taken a logo. I mean, basically sort of tagline.
I like that tagline. When
Yeah.
I read your thing, it's a
Yeah.
good tagline, and that's the actually what I feel is that's the need of today.
Actually, so we had been thinking in this for a particular long time. Anirban and me had discussed this, and we said that let's do something which is would be we can give something to society back, which is very important. And nowadays, you can see the circumstances everywhere. The aggression has gone up. The aggression behavior in people have gone up. There is a lot of impatience. There is a lot of disrespect, which I don't know why it is happening, due to the value system declining. I don't know for what, but this is the current scenario. And a person who would be facing such kind of intimidation or threat would actually be prepared mentally, how to react next. Okay. So Anirban, over to you. Anirban, if you, ma'am,
can I add to something that you were saying? What you said is very true. When somebody intimidates you, for a victim or for somebody who's getting intimidated, it becomes very difficult to respond.
Yes.
The problem is because from a very young age, fear is put in our mind. It's like, don't do this, this will happen. When a small kid doesn't sleep, people talk like, I'll send it to you, to a policeman, or I'll call a policeman, I'll do this. So what unfortunately what we are doing is, as an as a parent or as an adult, we are putting fear in our kids' mind, but we are not helping them to understand about how to deal with that fear.
True.
So that's why when, like I said, when I face somebody and I feel like, oh, maybe he's the one that my parents have been talking about, or she's the one my parents have been talking about. What happens is that fear comes to me, but I don't know how to react. So the program that I am into, as a human being, is I freeze. So like, now I don't know what to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Second is, it's like some they, they try to fight, but because it's not also again 100% most of the time, because there's always something when you are fighting. We are also being told that you should not fight. You should not give back to somebody. You need to be very we don't prefer in violence and all. So when I'm fighting back, I have a doubt whether what I'm doing is right or not. So that is not, again, I'm not doing it with my full strength. So there's half strength involved, and when I fight back, I may not get the result that I am expected. And then again, it goes back to, I told you not to fight with all those things. So that's the problem that fear brings in.
Yeah.
Yeah, Madhuli, my name is Anirban. I'm with him. We go back since childhood. So we have been, practicing martial arts, and we are I'm heavily into physical fitness and all that. So so you were actually right, because I have seen people. I mean, when I see adults fearing a dog, man's best friend. It's a tagline with that animal called man's best friend. Why? Because since childhood, parents are telling, "Kutte ke paas mat jao, kaat dega." It's not, don't go to the dog will bite. Dogs never bite unless you are doing something bad to him.
Right.
Them. I mean, it never happens like that. So fear psychosis is ingrained into our mindset right from childhood. Now, the point is that, I mean, in a situation where a person is getting intimidated, there are fight or flight. This is most of the time it is not fight, it's flight or freeze rather. Flight or freeze rather than fight. So how do you think a person can get out of it? I mean, obviously we are here, we are discussing it, and our whole motto is to get them out of that fear psychosis. And the only way to do it is that getting trained to face that. But according to you, what else can be done? Like, see, we train people, we have done, and we have seen that even after getting trained, people get frozen, freezed during that moment. So what do you think what else can be done apart from just the physical training in terms of mental, that training or mental fitness that we can help them out?
I'm not sure if we can use the same thing, but the life situations that you're talking about are very, like, they are severe kind of. But even athletes I work with, they go through this. So we train them, they are training to face competition, they're training to face their opponent and everything. But when they go into play, they freeze. It's like, now what do I do? One or two things that go against them or not for them, they are like, what to do? So I'm sure you would be doing this, right, in your training also. Simulation, bringing,
Correct. Absolutely.
Creating a situation, and then you
Absolutely.
fight. So it takes time. What we do also is, we have to, like with the athletes, we keep hammering them, saying, it's okay to, one, it's okay to feel the fear, but second is working on things that are within my control. So I may be scared, or I may fear facing, Shoaib Akhtar, let's say, because he's, the fastest bowler.
Right.
So I may have that fear of facing him, but if I keep thinking about him, I will not be able to perform, my best on my strength.
True.
I cannot play. So what I have to do is I have to understand what my strengths are. Um, if I have to connect with, martial arts, the first thing, like, when we are training and there's simulation, I feel like, okay, I practice, I do all the techniques that I'm told, but the person who's standing in front of me is a dummy, right? Like, he's not the actual one who's threatening me.
True.
He would not like fight back. He would like, okay, he'll take it easy. But here, I'm not sure. So it's, so it's normal to have that fear again, because that's the actual one I have to face.
I think it is also about like the person who is the simulation is happening with is a familiar face.
Right. So and I'm aware of his strength, right? I know what are his strengths and what is the limit that he'll keep. He won't cross that. He won't go beyond that. But when I see an actual person who's threatening me, I don't know his limits.
Right. It's
I don't know his
the
strength.
fear of the unknown that sets in.
Right. So if we ask them to focus on, like, we always say this, especially with my batsmen, if like when you're playing a shot, if you go into double mind, whether I should play this or I shouldn't, I might get out. So if you go in double mind, you don't use your strength. So like I said in the beginning, then the efforts that you put in are half-hearted. And then the result that you get will not be good. Right. So make a decision whether you want to hit or you want to leave, and just stick to that. So I think if I have to fight, I have to fight with all my strength. So if we can understand that, or make them understand that, your half effort will not help you, but if you fight with your full strength, then only you can fight. And if actually, it's seen, right? If you fight, if you play, like we say, if you play with your full strength, your opponent may be very powerful, but if you can gather all your strength and then attack, nobody can stop you. True. So that's true in every field, right? So
So in a self-defense kind of a scenario, like when a person is getting attacked on the road, okay, and attacked by one or maybe even multiple opponents, and it's not about someone and nowadays the problem is that the aggression is so much, as Shashwat said, it's not about just taking something valuable from you and running away. It is about, after that, they even fear that they might get identified or they might get reported, so they kill the person. So, in a self-defense kind of a scenario, the result of not being up to the mark is even more dangerous. The person might, so that is something I think we need to help the person understand, that if fear takes over, then the end result might be fatal, right?
Right.
It's not just losing the game kind of a scenario here.
True. Yeah. Also, I feel as like you can't fight in every situation. If I'm alone, and if I see three men, strong men standing in front of me, it doesn't make sense to fight.
True. Absolutely.
So I need to use something that, that will help me, and then, that can save me from that. So I need to also find out, like, what are the other objective. That's also
so that is a very interesting point that you have raised, because see, self-defense does not only mean, if while teaching self-defense we are only teaching people how to fight, that's not self-defense. Self-defense, when I say self-defense, the end goal is to get out of the situation. The end goal is to save your life. The end goal is to get out of the danger. That not necessarily means that you have to fight or you have to hit someone. It might be that you run. If you run well, run. If you see that there is at a distance there are people who are standing, just go towards them. Come to a public area or come to a well-lit area. Right? You are absolutely right. So that is another thing that should be always a part of a training, where it is not just about fight, it's all about trying to find out how to save yourself in any way possible. Very true.
Right.
So, I think, ma'am.
I think one of the...
Yeah, please.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Continue, ma'am. Yeah.
No, I was saying, like, especially with girls, this can be, this can be something which holds them, because
True.
we, like, we talked about how our thoughts are developed from childhood. Girls are always told that, you are not stronger than a boy.
Right.
So
Which is
if I have
absolutely wrong,
to
actually.
fight, yeah, so it's like, if I have to fight, I don't know whether my strength is good to fight. So yeah, so that's why, like, I hear, like, self defense वगैरह ये सब सीखने के लिए ठीक है, पर application के लिए कितना use होता है is again a
Right.
question mark for
Right.
most of the girls.
Because we
So
always say that a person who is like, especially for women, girls, I mean, majority of them can talk, right? So the one
right.
aspect of self-defense could be that, it's not, I mean, instead of getting brain freeze, try to talk that person out of it, or
Right.
maybe talk to the level of, maybe even talk while talking, you might get just 3 minutes or 5 minutes, which might be
Right.
quite valuable
Right.
to get out of the situation.
You can think
Right.
that you can think of different alternatives or options that can help you in a
Very
situation.
true.
The example that you brought, like, people fear dog. We give this as an example. Like, we give an example, like, if you fear a dog, right? So let's say I am afraid of dogs, and I'm crossing the road, and I'm afraid to hell. Like, just seeing a dog brings,
Right. It's a phobia. Yeah.
yeah, it's a phobia kind. So I have to cross the road, and I see that a person is standing to the other side of the road with a leash and the dog. So what options do I have? So when I see the dog, one is I decide to run away.
Correct.
Let's cancel. Let's
Avoid.
not cross
Yeah.
the road. Yeah, let's avoid. Let's go back. Second could be, like, I say, like, enough is enough. I've been, like, through for my whole life, I've been scared of dogs. Now I'm not going to be afraid of them. And then I go, directly on the dog. It's like, बहुत हो गया, अभी मैं दिखाऊंगी, kind of. So that also doesn't help, because then you are,
Intimidating the dog.
you're intimidating the dog. So
It's the
he
other way
has
around.
to run behind you then. So that's the
You
second
will be
option.
on a self-defense mode.
Right. So the third option that we have is, find some distraction. Like, if a group of people, they are crossing the road, I might just get into that group, and then I'll see, okay, the
Absolutely.
dog is not looking at me, I'm not looking at the dog, and I
Right.
cross the road, and my problem is solved.
Absolutely.
Fourth could be, where I have one eye on the dog, and I have the other eye on my on the road, because I have to see the cars moving. So I have other road, and then I just see whether he's doing anything that that I should be scared of. So if he is, like, there, obviously he's tied to a leash, so I don't have to worry, then all those things. So I look that, and then I cross my road. So this is like, I'm managing my fear, and I'm crossing the road. So these could be, like, different, in a situation where you have to face your fear, you can use these different things as a strategy. Like, you said that if you see people standing there, or if you see that there's a light on the corner of the road, try to go there. So that's kind of distraction.
Right.
You don't have to go and fight, I'll show you.
Absolutely. Right.
Ma'am, I
Yeah,
think
if we can.
yeah. So I think common sense is one thing which I think we need to work upon, as an organization, and also with respect to areas like presence of mind, common sense and presence of mind. I think these are the areas which we might be discussing with you again in the next session. Maybe if you can have
Camera off
some
kara
time
hai.
more, we'll be talking upon body language, presence of mind, because I've seen people who play football. This is my personal experience. People who lack in common sense grows common sense if they play football, because football is such a natural and such a wonderful game. May not be cricket always, or any other sports which I have played. I have not seen that, but football is something which is very instant, and your thinking has to be instant. Your common sense has to be instant. You have to find the gap, where to put the ball, where you need to pass. So this common sense, whether you have to turn around or you need to do so, this kind of football I've seen is a very beautiful game which develops your common sense. that has been my experience because I also play football. So I think we need to work, Anirban. We need to work more on common sense, body language, presence of mind, these kind of aspects which will also involve, and would ma'am definitely would invite you to
Yeah, there's a
to our
very
next
interesting
sessions.
quote said by MS Dhoni. He, in his one of the interviews, said, and we all know, like, common sense is very uncommon. So he
Right.
said that, he said that when you work in a team, you don't think that, I need not say this, it's common sense, everybody understands it. But, not everybody understands. So you have to tell everything. So yeah, and that also happened with me when I was working with a national team under 19, and I was explaining a concept, and the concept was so simple, saying, like, I was explaining to ballers, and I said that when the ball is in your hand, you have the control over the ball. Once you release the ball, there's no control.
Right.
So for me, I was like, that's understood. And so I was explaining that concept, and then the coach, he raised hand and he said, "Ma'am, can you elaborate?" Like, what is there to elaborate? I'm like, it's understood. When the ball leaves your hand, there is no control. But I said, okay, because coach is saying there has to be something in it. So I said, okay. Then I explained that, when you release the ball is gone. You cannot call it back.
Correct.
And then the expression I saw on the face of the boys were like, yes. So, like you said, yeah. So most of the time when we are teaching, or we are in, especially when we are teaching, we feel that, yeah, this is understood. We need not explain this. But yeah, from a student point of view, they may not get that simple thing also, yeah. So,
It was great discussion with you. Thanks a lot for taking out that time.
thank you.
It was amazing.
Ma'am, really, again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You accepted our invite, and expressed your willingness to be in this short discussion. I think
Thank
people
you. No,
will be get,
I liked your tagline. When I read that, I was like, oh wow, this is something. Yeah, I would love to talk then. So yeah,
so
thank you
ma'am,
so much.
we'd be also looking forward with you for some more sessions, maybe whenever you have time. Let us define the subjects, because we are working on it. Though we focus on legalities, we focus on psychology, we focus on hand-to-hand combat, we focus on common sense. These are the areas I think we holistically had designed. Anirban and myself both have thought over it, and I think this is the wholesome thing which we need to present to the audience, and make them feel fear free when they're walking on the roads, or while they're protecting their families. So there are a lot of things which we'll come up with. We have just started a year back, so gradually we're moving forward to this kind of concept, and hopefully with your blessing, I think will be able to make it big, and we really want to serve our country, and the people who feel helpless on the roads when they're walking, whether they be a girl or be a boy or be a man. So we should, our aim is to, make them overcome from that kind of trauma or fear, ma'am. So that is, thank you so much, ma'am, for coming on the show and,
No
giving the
problem.
insights, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Anirban.
you.
Bye.
Thanks.